Well, hello, here we are. It's Friday. Put that music in the background. We're at our favorite service center. We're not, we're just pretending. Alright, so you get the microphones up. And notice on your screen, or on my screen, where I have the gas. Waking up my computer. Alright, it says 295 miles. That is the, you can change these settings so that it's in watts and all that stuff. It's a 326 mile battery. That's all we care about, how far we can go. You notice even that the new cars that are coming out have their gas gauges in miles instead of, I mean, they have the thing where it says full, 3/4 full, half full, 1/4 empty, 1/8 empty, so forth. I mean, that gives you some kind of, when you get down to below an eighth, you need to find your way to a gas station. But they also show my Honda, which is a 4-year-old Honda, which I just sold, I should say, to CarMax. It had a range. One of the settings you could pull up on the display from the steering wheel, you could see range. When you'd fill up the tank, it would say 530 miles. Now that's range. And then I'd fill up every 10 days. I go to the gas station. It's not convenient to go to the gas station every other day. Now, in my present parking arrangement in the building that we're in, I can pull into the spot after 5 o'clock because it's an 8 to 5 reserved spot. And after 5, any resident can park there. I don't know if anybody can park there, but let's just say any resident. You better have a sticker. So if there's no one in that spot, when I pick up Maryland at 5 o'clock, so it usually means that about 5:25, I'm showing up into the garage on level 4. You go around and around and around. So you go clockwise, I think. Yeah, you go clockwise when you come into the building. And you keep going clockwise, and you keep getting up higher and higher. And spot 265 is on the 4th level. And there's an outlet right there. I've shown you what the outlet looks like. And it looks like a dryer plug. Probably go through all these shots here. I'm very prolific when it comes to screenshots and photographs and all this stuff. Where's the picture? There's a picture of us getting the car, charging it for the first time. There you go. Yeah. And when was that? June 11th at 12:14 p.m. And there's the FAU tag. Right there. Expires 8/22. That's pretty good. They did exactly what I wanted. So they transferred the registration to that tag, which I saved off the Honda. Figured, let's keep our FAU tag. Why should I turn that in? These are recent shots. Where's my plug? Yeah, that's what my car runs on. 7,000 of those batteries all standing up like little stars. And they have them in, they have them in I think 14 packs. You know, so you divide 7,200 and something or other batteries by 14, and you end up, you know, with 500 and so batteries in a pack. And they're in a pack that, you know, in series and parallel and so forth, so they can get up to, what do you call it? I think it's 25 volts. So all those little batteries are put together in such a way, series and parallel, so it's what produces 25 volts. And if you have, you know, 14 of those, and you put them in series, you end up with 450 volts. Anyway, here's my plug. We remember that, right? And if you can read upside down, it's the 1450 NEMA plug. And it's good for 50 amps, 250 volts. All right. There's my convection oven, new wave down there. We cooked the chicken in there. Yeah, so here's my spot. See, and there's the plug. Right? That's a 50 amp, 250 volt plug. There it is, a bigger view of it. So we share that. So you see here, here's the two parking spaces. Dr. Kaplan parks over here, 266. See that? Resident parking. That's a 24-hour spot. This is 265 and reserved Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. So at 5:30, any day I could park there if there's no one there. Anyway, so that's the story, and right between these, whoops, you know, see the double lines, and you go all the way this way, and that's where the plug is. Anyway, there we go. Wow. Back to that long ago. Yep, and there's Jimmy waiting for the car. I think I better edit this. Let's go down to edit. And we're going to come over here to color. And we're going to cut that down a little bit. So you can make that black and white. Let's just add a little color. That's enough. There we go. Okay. That looks pretty good. Let's just let that drop. There we go. See, June 11th, 12:05. I'm waiting, patiently waiting. This is my little bag of stuff that I'm going to put in the trunk of the car. There we go. So getting back to Tesla talking. I am kind of talking Tesla. Look at this they offered. Upgrades. I'm eligible to pay $2,000. just check right there. To improve the 0 to 60 time from 4.8 seconds to 4.2 seconds. Requires a software version of 2020.36. Yeah, after you pay $2,000, then they release this software, which basically clicks a few switches in the battery and so forth, so it will allow enough amperes to hit the motors so that you can, it adds another couple of hundred amperes. I'm guessing what that so there's more power from the battery that's permitted to get to the motors. And they've determined in their engineering department that by flipping this switch, we can put an extra draw on the batteries so that the motors can, put enough power under the wheels to go 0 to 60 in 4.2 seconds. That'd be really helpful in traffic, wouldn't it? I mean, really, the car at 4.8 seconds is a rocket ship. Let me tell you. Now, as a 20-something, early 20s, I drove a Corvette, a real 1959 Corvette, with I think a 283 cubic inch dual 4-barrel carburetors. You got all that gasoline stuff mixing, 2 4-barrel carburetors. So it's like it almost had like a barrel for each cylinder. This was an 8-cylinder engine. So now you got a dual 4-barrel carburetor. It was about this big, and it would have these vents, so when you step on the gas pedal, the vents go like this, and the gas gets sprayed into the carburetor, and which basically converts that to a vapor. And then when the cylinders suck in, because the cylinders are going like this, so when the cylinder goes down, it sucks in the fuel, and then the cylinder goes up, and then bam, the electrical from the fire, the spark plug then fires at the right moment and produces power. I think it was like 300 horsepower, something like that, maybe 350 horsepower, which in 1960, 59, 60, that was a lot of horses. Horsepower. Interesting on how that came to be. But now these electric motors, so you get 300 horsepower when the engine is up around 2,800 RPM, but the engine's idling at like 800 RPM, and you got a clutch and the transmission and so forth. So when you step on the gas, first shot, you really don't get that much, speed onto the car. Now you've heard of popping the clutch, which means you rev up the engine to 2,000 RPM, and then you let the clutch in, gradually but quickly, and that'll throw some, 250 horsepower under the wheels right away. Now the Tesla, the electric motors are really good from a fresh start, whereas gas motors are not. Internal combustion engines, ICE, that's where ICE comes from. They're gasoline. Gasoline has to be sprayed into a carburetor, and then the cylinder sucks in that air and gas mixture, and the gasoline itself has to be at a certain range of isooctane, which is a gasoline, but high test, has a different mixture of hydrocarbons, so that the burning rate matches what the engineers designed for the carburetors. So, these guys have to know each other, because the gasoline people are making gas for cars, trucks, and all the car manufacturers and all the truck manufacturers have to essentially experiment with their carburetors to make sure that gasoline, when mixed in the proper proportion with air, will perform right in the engine. So that's why, if a car requires high test, you can't put low test, because the burning rate is slightly different. and you know, your engine will knock, the engine will you know, sputter, it won't run evenly. So and in cold temperatures it's even more critical. But you know, so the gasoline manufacturers and the car manufacturers definitely have to have a joint luncheon, you know, and match the burning rate of the gasoline that's coming out of the refinery to carburetors and how they're adjusted. And you know, the car manufacturers are constantly talking to the gasoline factories, foundries, distilleries, so that the product is consistent, so that their car, you know, because if it doesn't run right, Chevys gonna look terrible. Well, you know, because people that have Chevy cars are not running right. Well, you know, their engineers have to make sure that they build carburetors, you know, to the specifications that's provided to them by the gasoline manufacturers. Let's call it that way. They're actually fractional distillation plants. So, anyway. So that's a little story on ICE engines, carburetors, gasolines, you know, from an everyman standpoint. Now the electric cars, anyway, so, I mean, they just put this up like a couple of weeks ago. Hey, Maryland, let's increase the horsepower of so we can go from 0 to 60 in 4.2 seconds. How about that? It's only $2,000 and boom. They'll hit your account, and then it'll give you a key to open up your software, and you can go 0 to 60 in 4.2 seconds. No, thank you. 4.8 seconds is perfectly fine. I mean, when, you know, as far as driving this car around, you know, forget autopilot, just driving it, because I have all that stuff turned off, because until they, you know, they need a lot of data. And then they're going to set, you know, where it let's see, what did that say? I don't know if it's no, it doesn't say. Yeah, see, 2020, 36. We're at 2020, 4.18.3. So instead of 36, it's 4.18.3. That's the software version we're currently, you know, all the Model Ys are using, except if you buy that thing. You know, then the software, you get a different download. The rest of us, which is just about everybody, you know, who's going to pay $2,000 so you can go a half a second faster? I mean, that person is, yeah, he's probably got a rich father. You know, he got some kid driving the car. Anyway, so the reason why I got this here is that last night, you know, cruised right in. The spot was empty at 5:30, so I, you know, moved myself around and backed into the spot, because I don't like the wire hanging out across the car. So I just backed in so that the plug, this, you know, where you plug in the cord, where you fill up the tank, you know, I want it on the, you know, the right side of the parking space, so it's like behind the column, you know, so there's a straight shot from the column to where I plug in the car. The car, you know, the cord is plenty long enough. It's a 25-foot cord, I think. So I just, you know, uncoil the cord, plug that big sucker in there, and then plug in to the car. Now, when you lock your car, apparently the nozzle that you plug into the car locks into the thing, so people can't run off with your cord. You know, I mean, in theory, they can unplug this, and they can get the adapter. You know, the $40 adapter, where I plug into the you know, the 1450 plug, and then that plugs into the Tesla cord, so they can walk off with that piece, which I don't know how much that would. I've never seen a replacement for that, but you know, maybe you got to buy another whole cord, which is $500. I understand. I don't want to do that. Now I have an extension cord in the trunk. So if I go to visit somebody and they have their washer and dryer in the garage, I've got a 30-foot extension cord. Plus I got 20 feet in it, so I can be in theory 40 or 50 feet away from the dryer outlet and still plug in for a fill up. If I felt like filling up at someone's house. And I calculated that with the current rates at FPNL, which are 9.5 cents per kilowatt, you divide that back by, you know, the efficiency of the car and all that stuff. I calculated that it's three and a half cents per mile. That's the electricity charge. So if I drive 100 miles, you know, it's $3.50 for a 100-mile run. So 300 miles, so you multiply 3 times 35. You end up with about $11. I just happen to have a calculator right here. So it's 3.5 cents a mile, and if you filled up 300 miles worth, that's $10.50. So that's what I figured, $10 or $11, $10.50. So now if we went to Marilyn's sister's house, Bob Beatty, that's about a 150-mile drive. So if I did a fill up, 150 miles times 0.0, 3.5 cents, $5.25. So one way to Fort Myers is $5. Round numbers, $5. So, you know, with gasoline, it'd be a lot more than that. You know, and we don't have anything to service either. So, you know, there's no servicing, no oils to fill up and all that kind of stuff. You got a battery and 2 electric motors, and they're all they're supposed to be million-mile components. Now you get a 4-year warranty. And I think it's a little bit of a guess, I think they cap it at about, at about 50,000 miles a year. So, I mean, so they give you like 250,000 miles worth of warranty, which is crazy because I may get to 30,000 miles in 3 years with one car. So that's it. So we filled the car. I have a cord. I don't know if Bob has a 1450. I should ask him. Yeah. Let's see. Let's do this. Yeah, so I can go. I think no, wait a minute. Let's not do. Oh, there's our president, former president. All right, let's just do this. And let me go back to, where's that plug? It is up here quite a ways. There it is. I'll do this. And then I'll send it to him. Bob. There we go, Bob Beatty. And I'll say, does your dryer oops. Oh, that looks funny. Electric. All right, so we just sent Bob a picture of that outlet, which he can, you know, expand with his fingers. And, I must have a, this is Jimmy and Maryland. Yeah. Let's send that to Bob too. Bob. There he is. There you go. We got it covered. So we'll see what Bob comes back with. And, you know, so, the thought, you know, Marilyn says, you know, I don't have a real visual of the house, and, you know, who remembers where someone's dryer is? And they've had 3 different houses in 10 years or so. I remember the house they had before this one, the washer and dryer was in the garage, literally. So I could back up to the garage and plug in. I have an extension cord, so it wouldn't be tight, you know, and then I could close the garage door and everything with my car on the outside, and yeah, plug it in. So I can look right on my on that view that I just showed you. And, you know, in my car, actually, let's see, do I have one of those here? Yeah, but you gotta turn it sideways. All right, so we'll just, oh, look at that. Good. See, now that's, all right, so that's now, look at that. You get a nice, yours is proper, and I'm lopsided here. So, oops. So you can see, let's go to charging. So it's a 300, anyway, so it's 293 miles. It'll charge to like 310 or something like that. So you just take your mileage when you. So if you pull in and that thing says, 150, and you charge it at 300, that's going to be 150 miles. You multiply 150 times $3, three and a half cents a mile, and you're going to end up with, $4 or so. So I don't want to take his electricity. It'll take 3 or 4 hours, and then it'll automatically stop. It won't charge all night. Last night, I pulled in the spot at like 5:30, and then I looked at this thing here, and it basically said it'll be done in 3 hours and 55 minutes, which is about 4 hours, which means I plugged in at 5:30, and it was all filled up by 12:30, midnight. So I just, I didn't move the car, just left it there. And, it's an 8 to 5 spot, so I got out of there at 8 a.m., taking Marilyn to the bank. So, I don't want to stay there past 8 in the morning, because someone else has use of that spot from 8 in the morning until 5 p.m. And those spots are individually assigned. They don't have a name on the spot, but they have a spot number. That's spot 265. So someone has spot 265. My property manager is trying to figure out who's got that spot. She doesn't have it on her list because that's the commercial list. That's those people that have those 8 to 5 spots are renting office space on the second floor in our building. So they have like a retail on the ground floor and the lobby, and then they have on the second floor a whole, 20,000 square feet worth of office space divided up into multiple tenants. So someone in the commercial package of office users has their name on 265. So I'm thinking, best case scenario, let's switch spots, and I'll take that spot, and then they can have 8 to 5 up, one more floor up, which is a superior parking place. So I almost don't care if they arrange that, because, driving around, it's no big deal for me to go down one level and park in 265, just to charge it up. If I get down to 20% in the battery, I'm going to be looking to charge it. So, I got a couple of days to try to get in that parking spot. And Saturday morning and Sunday morning are usually pretty good times to get in there. And so that's the end of my story. And it's a Friday, and it's 12:47 or something. And I'm going to sign off because I have to build a twin bed thingy. So I've got to unpack all the parts, and then you follow instructions and this and that, and I have to get my tools out that work with that, and socket wrenches and so forth, because I have to assemble this thing. And it says that you should have 2 people. One guy stands on the other side of it. It's not because it's heavy, it's because you're trying to line stuff up. And they usually want someone on the other end of these pipes, so when you screw it in, someone's kind of holding it on the other side. But I think I can get away with doing it myself. Well, I'm going to try. And if I can't, then Marilyn and I will do it tomorrow morning. And so that we'll sign off with that, and we'll give Epicurus a little epidemic. They call it epidemic. So I'll give you 60 seconds of that, and then I'm going to be out of here. So have a great weekend, and we'll see if I got something to talk about on Monday. Bye-bye.